Alright, so welcome back to another video on how to become a business consultant freelancer. So, because I saw this on the section 4 on how to conduct a proper research in as a freelance consultant by looking at how to perform a proper research and gather quality data. I'm going to make a quick recap of this, especially since data is something that is very powerful because it can help you to influence, persuade, inform, but also can be misleading. So when you're conducting a research, sorry, so yeah, when you're conducting a research, so when you conduct, uh, yeah, a research, so when you conduct a research, uh, okay, so when you conduct a research, to a consulting project, it is important to identify is your source for from the most valuable to the least valuable. These are type of data that comes from the company itself, which is the most valuable because this first party data are usually behind NDA agreement. And so once you sign that, now you can look as far data as they have, as far back data as they have, and see how they have in performance and how you can make your suggestions and recommendations based on that. So then I look at the second set of data, the secondary party data, from trust sources where they have a proven record of research report, they're not anonymous, peer review, you might or not pay for that kind of data. And then we have is the least valuable, which is from aggregate sources, right? Because the quality of this data is not guaranteed, or also is the author of that data is hidden to some paywall, or you don't know who the author really is. So with that type of data, then I look at how you can conduct a research, especially from a broad perspective. Play devil advocate with yourself because things are not black and white. Gather as much relevant information as possible. Take notes and keep record of every source you obtain is also important. And check the quality of those data, of those sources. If this comes from an anonymous source, do you know who the author really is? But when you look at the data from a website, for example, do you feel something fishy about that? Perhaps some grammar errors, or their layout is not something new age. So then look at case of study. Again, this is served as guidelines, and especially how you conduct a research from Paul Mendes, this Google AdSense guru, right? So first is look at their website. Particularly, this use case is from a tourist website, right? Uh, so by looking at the tourist website, understand what they offer, all the products and service, and then uh, go into the specific, what? And then go into the specific by looking at the category, the pricings, how much they charge, the company's review, and what makes this company unique. Okay, because this is something that I will use in my consulting suggestions. So then it's when you move to the first party data, if you can have access to that, and look at what they have done in the past, see how they have been performing to help you make your suggestions, to understand how you can provide your suggestions. So then, once you do this research on the website, their brands, their pricing and category, how much they charge, now you can move to a secondary data. This is from the competitor analysis to understand who the other players are in that industry. You have to understand who the other players in that industry are in that area, uh, and see what you can learn from them by taking keywords in the process. So once you have these keywords, you can use tools like Keyword Planner to do that, or keyword Google, for example, uh, the keyword search, the keyword search from Google or any other tools that are not Google related, and this is to get a more clear idea of what's going on in that industry first. And then on top of that, if you look at for more worldwide news to get a broad perspective of what happened now in the world, to see how your research can be used to figuring out what is most likely to work today. And that includes see how this industry is adapting to regulations, uh, and where this industry is going. Again, this is from the perspective of someone in the market, but that's something that can be useful to anyone. This set of guidelines is something that can be used for developers, designers, whoever wants to dive deep into a market or into a niche, whoever wants to deep dive, so whoever wants to deep dive into that specific niche, and then, well, make an offer, try to get their first client, find out place where they can, find out place where they can find clients, get the service agreement signed, secure payments, and then when that is when you start to offer your service. And remember that the ultimate goal is to scale your business. Okay. So okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Exactly. So makes sense. Makes sense. So looking at this case study, then I apply it into my own project, right? Which is the practice and how to conduct a research. Because the whole idea here is to build a POC, e-commerce with Knox, Vue, and headless CMS such as Strapi and record the process. So first is understand a couple of concepts like e-commerce. What is the e-commerce? It's the trading of goods and service on the internet. Okay, it is your bustling city center and brick and mortar shop translated in zeros and ones on the internet. Superhighway from Amazon, right? So it is your bustling city center, bustling. Interesting that word, bustling, bustling, bustling. Mm, noisy, tumultuous, characterized by confused activity, full of energetic and noisy activity. Bustling. 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 What about this? Boss. Boss. A woman breast. Okay, no. Bustling. This is an adjective. Okay. Okay, it's not a verb. It's an adjective. Okay. Mhm. Similar as busy, but bustling. Busy, bustling. Interesting. Full of energy and activity. And noisy. Bustling city. So in Spanish es algo bullicioso, energéticamente bullicioso. ¿No? Energéticamente bullicioso. Bustling. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So an e-commerce is the trading of goods and service on the internet. It is your bustling city center or your brick and mortar shop. The brick and mortar is a retailer. Is another way of how they talk to the retailer shop. The brick and mortar, because well, most of the time back in the old days, and right now actually, they're made of brick and mortar, right? Mortar. That's exactly what they do, right? So basically, those buildings are made by that, so brick and mortar. For example, this, right? This brick and mortar is this brick and mortar. That's the reason why they call it, or this retail shop. So e-commerce is the trading of goods and service on the internet. It is your bustling city center and your brick and mortar shop into zeros and ones on the internet superhighway. There are also another definition of e-commerce, okay, according to Shopify, whereas e-business refers to all aspects of operating an online business, e-commerce refers specifically to the transaction of good and service. So Shopify mentioned that yes, even the term e-business refers to all of the operation, all of the aspect, or refers to all aspect of operating a business or an online business. E-commerce refers specifically to the transaction of good and service. So according to Wikipedia, e-commerce is the buy and sell of good and service over time. So understand this distinction of e-commerce is something crucial, okay? Because now this can give you a more clear idea of what you're trying to build. Okay, so once you have this specific set of instructions or this specific set of requirement as a developer, you know what you have to build. So yeah, so that's basically an e-commerce. Okay, it's a trading of goods and assets on the internet, right? It's your bustling city or your brick and mortar shop into zeros and one on the internet superhighway. So even though that e-business refers to all aspects of operating an online business, e-commerce refers specifically to the trading of good and service. Okay, so specifically trading of good and service, to the transaction of good and service. So it's just specifically in that operation to the transaction of good and service. So what you offer to me, what I give it to you, right? Most of the time the user give money and they respect or they expect to receive something in return, perhaps a physical product or a digital service, things like that, right? So this is e-commerce, is the buying and selling of goods and service over the internet. But I would like to have these two concepts from the Amazon and the Shopify. Okay, because the Amazon explain you from a so Amazon gives you an example, whereas Shopify give you the whole concept of e-business and what it really means to e-commerce. Makes sense. Makes completely sense. Okay. Then I look at the types of e-commerce. What you have the business to client, business to consumer. This is the most common model with many variations. Business to business. So business sell to other business. Often the buyer resells product to the consumers. Business to business. Consumer sell to business. Okay, so consumers to business. Consumer to business allow customers to sell to other companies. Example of C2B, uh, e-commerce. Right. Mm. What is C2B? C2CB. That's different. That's different. That's different. What is a C2B? Everything you need to know. Here are the do's and don'ts. A prevailing rising of e-commerce business model, customer to business e-commerce is yet to reach the common people's view. Unlike most conventional business model, the consumer to business model allows companies to gain from their customer and vice versa. In the business system, firms gain from customer willingness to contribute marketing tips or data to their business or quote their own price. In the same fate, consumer benefited direct payment, flexibility, reduced price, or free product and service. According to Brent Wall, Vice President C2B Solutions, the main feature of C2B is that clients offer value to the business. It can be clients co-creating product and service concepts, solutions, and ideas with a firm via social media or any other channel. C2B is the complete opposite of the traditional system. Those who are usually considered as end users develop service and product consumed by organization and business they purchase from. In other scenarios, instead of a company advertising a product or service to prospect, customers now demand a product or service at a certain price that they are happy with and wait for the business to fill the gap. This type of e-commerce model is now becoming very popular thanks to the World Wide Web power. Clients are now beginning to understand the power they have and are utilizing it to get better deals. A good example is Upwork. So it was the first site to offer a customer to business model where users can post service they offer and interesting business can reply with their own bids. So how does it work? The consumer business model has performed extremely well online because of easy access to many loyal customers. In case where the business transactions were mainly directional, with first pushing products and service to consumer, these new bidirectional systems allow clients to become their own entities. Has allowed clients to become their own entities. What's more, reducing the cost of the web development service, high quality printer, and video cameras give clients instant access to communication and promotion tools that were limited only to big multinationals previously. As such, both business and consumers gain from C2B business system. Let's say C2B model can to be completely fulfilled. The party must be distinctly defined. The customer can be anybody who has something valuable to offer a company, either a product or service. Exactly. In my case, it's a service, but it can be a product as well. For instance, a photographer or blogger providing stock photos to brands. The customer can also answer server queries via a service website or provide a job recruitment service by referring people via referral hiring website like Fiverr.com. In this case, the company can be any brand planning to purchase service or good from people either indirectly through an intermediary or even directly. The intermediary will link the brands that require a service or needs to different individuals acting as the seller or buyer. The intermediary or the go-between promotes productions and service via various distribution platforms and provide consumer technical, logistic, and promotion expertise. Mhm. So growing your client to business requires commitment and some special skills as well. Just like a B2B business model relying on account management, exactly, on an account management and sales functions to develop and strengthen client relationships. Just like a B2B business model relies on account management and sales function, like account management and sales function to develop and strengthen client relationship, C2B brands interested in extending their business to reach a wider audience. Just consider this tool. Social media such as social media channels such as Twitter, following your Facebook page, market research, segmentation, qualitative interview, quantity service, consumer feedback avenues include channel for suggestions, comments, customer service lines, and rating reviews. Having a powerful presence at trades, conferences, and conventions. Having a powerful presence at trade, conference, and conventions. Advertising in trade journals, digital marketing, and other conventional awareness campaigns. What is the difference between B2C and C2B? Mm, Advantage of the C2B model: abundance of choice, builds loyalty, boosts sales. Disadvantage: fulfillment problems. Business no longer decide on the price. What are C2B examples? Business organizations receive product, receive money, both, that through their website, they process an order, and they place money for particular service. Mm, Mm, Who is your main prospect and where and what they want from you? Have a plan to handle all their needs and solve their problems. This means you must understand your end users. Have a plan. Plan to attract leads through multiple channels. This will ensure that you know what to do at what time, as well as monitor results. Handle leads. While generating leads is crucial, closing those leads is more important. Do not just channel 90% of your resources to creating leads and only 10% into handling the leads. It is possible to close the leads yourself. Do not rely on your sales team to do everything for you. Be clear and direct. Craft messages that clearly define how you will solve problems for clients. Technically, you will want to design 2 or 3 messages customized as you measure and track your campaign results. Have a strong presence where prospects are. The don'ts in C2B: focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. Attracting new profit is about solving problems and meeting needs. So concentrate on customers and what they require and what they require from you. Be afraid to try something new. Trying to be everything to everyone, exactly. Make it hard to reach you. Attracting new prospect is about solving problems and meeting needs. Okay. How to make C2B e-commerce work for your business. Big content intelligence. Bottom line. Mhm, mhm. So, example of C2B according to big.cloud. Okay, so example of C2B, right? Example of C2B. Mhm. Example of C2B are Upwork. Mhm. Or Fiverr. Mhm. 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 So right now, in the model I am is the consumers to business or client to business. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, okay. Where and how does an e-commerce takes place? In the mobile sphere, enterprise, and social media e-commerce. So that's one of the reasons most people are migrating to there. You know, because this is especially where you're going to promote yourself and others and their product and service. Mhm. 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 Again, here I'm just looking is at the sell aspect, the marketing aspect, the sell aspect of this to understand well what is this industry, the e-commerce, e-commerce industry, the state of the e-commerce industry according to Forbes in 2021. That's why all. That's why all. That's why all. Mhm. The challenge navigating through obstacle of foreign expansion. The way forward, planning ahead to prepare for growth. Trend 3, conventional financial method will take a backseat. The challenge, weighing the pros and cons of alternative financing. The way forward is exploring alternative financial solutions to fuel growth. Some last word. Know yourself and your rivals, or you risk losing the e-commerce battle. Know the enemy and know yourself. In 100 battles, you will never be in peril. Mm. Staying on top of e-commerce trend is not an option. It is a necessity. For e-commerce business owners, keeping an abreast of industry trends in particular important for you to stay competitive and identify new opportunities. As a past year draw to a close, this article highlights 3 e-commerce trends to watch in 2022. The e-commerce landscape is getting more competitive. More e-commerce businesses go global to overcome growth bottlenecks. Conventional financial methods will take a backseat. Conventional financing methods will take a backseat. Equity dilution is also common concern among founders who gain up for annual investment or venture capital. After all, giving away equity is expensive. Mm, but since the e-commerce focuses on the transaction of trade, the transaction between or the transaction of good and service, okay? So the e-commerce focuses on the transaction of good and service specifically, according to Shopify. Uh, it's trading of good and service on the internet. So since the e-commerce is specifically the transaction of good and service, so if your bustling city or your brick and mortar sh- shop into on or shop translate into zeros and ones on the internet superhighway, right? On the internet superhighway. And since that is what is e-commerce, okay, I also look at the types of e-commerce here, like B2C and C2B, client to business. So, for example, Upwork and Fiverr are a good example of that. And B2C, our business, uh, Rappi is another. This gig economy. Ah, okay. The gig economy. Mm-hmm. This gig economy, man. Mm-hmm. Okay. So anything that is like that makes not necessarily cool, man. Not necessarily great for the consumer, unless you have unless you have the MBA, Master of Business Administration, things like that. Perhaps you can handle and you can manage things like that. Okay. So the TLDR of this is because I want to conduct a research on build a POC, a proof of concept, e-commerce with Knox, will allow us to build modern web applications much more easy and view to build allow us to build is this UI interface for the browser, and headless CMS like Strapi allow us is to let me see what Strapi does underneath the hood. You know, let me see what Strapi does underneath the hood. Strapi is a leading open source headless CMS. It's 100% JavaScript and it's fully customized. Yeah, but get started here. Okay, you can before installing Strapi, the following requirement must be installed on your computer. Node, your preferred package manager, and Python if you're using SQLite database. Interesting. Exactly. Let's go to the introduction here. This documentation contains all technical documentation related to the setup, deployment, and update customization of your Stripe application. The original purpose of the project was to help bootstrap your API. That's how Strapi was created. Now Strapi is an open source headless CMS that gives developers the freedom to choose their favorite tools and frameworks and allow editors to manage and distribute their content using their application admin panel. Okay, so Strapi is an open source headless CMS that gives developers the freedom to choose their favorite tools and frameworks. What does it mean that? And allow editors to manage and distribute their content. So, as a developer, from the point of POV of developers, we can have the freedom to choose any tool or framework, and and from editors, allows to manage and distribute content using the admin panel or using their application admin panel. Based on plugin systems, Strapi is flexible CMS whose admin panels and API are extensible, and which every party's custom is able to match any use case. Strapi also has a built-in user system to manage in detail what the administrator and end user have access to. You have the open source and contribution. Strapi is an open source project. And Strapi main repository that allow so the whole idea or the original purpose is to help bootstrap your API. Okay, it was to bootstrap your API, but now this scale to an open source headless CMS that give developers the freedom to choose their favorite tool or frameworks and allow editors to modify or to manage and distribute their content using the application's administration panel. Okay, okay. This is the design system that is using the admin panel, being consistency between the different admin plugins. And Stripe community awesome. So Stripe is a community-oriented project with an emphasis on transparency. The Stripe team has at heart to share their vision and build the future of Stripe with the Stripe community. This is why the roadmap is open, as all insights are very important and will help steer to this. But for example, okay, if I want to look at this, register your first user. Power B, build your content. This part for food advisor here. Set create type of collection and content type builder. Restaurant. Something that I'm very familiar with. Go to plugins, category, names. Yeah. Define the relationship of this. Create an entry. Add a category to the restaurant. Set roles and permissions. Okay. That's good. Publish the content. And use the API. And what to do next? Create an API token to restrict access to your API, part of the authentication and authorization aspect. and learn how to use Strapi REST and GraphQL APIs to create the content and customize your Strapi backend and admin panel. This is for backend customizations, controller, service model, response, webhook. Okay. The question is, which configuration, which database do you use by default? You know what I mean? Which database you use by default? Database claims to create a connection, SQLite or Postgres or MySQL. Database connection information. Show database exchange and error. Use null as a default value. Mm, 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 mm. Better SQLite. Mm, 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 okay, this is exactly what we want to know. Okay, exactly. So this is to make it to bootstrap an API easily, but now scale into this open source project that allows developer to choose whatever framework or tool they want, and for editors allows to manage and distribute their content from the application from the admin uh, from the admin application panel. Mm, okay, okay, interesting. You can choose a client for that. Okay, the server socket with Heroku is opening. Chrome enable, Chrome test, there, opens. You have the admin API token. Mm, you have middleware configuration, loading order, and deployment. Strapi Cloud. Okay. Or hosting providing guides. Okay. Mm-hmm. Launching EC2 virtual machine. Using a Postgres database of AWS RDS. Navigate to AWS RDS service. Select your region. Create a database. Mm-hmm. Configure S3 for image hosting. Okay. Interesting. Configure EC2 as a Node.js server. Exactly. Set up the Ubuntu install Node.js with npm. Create change npm default registry. Install and configure Git version in your server. But what about Dockerize this? PM2 Process Manager. Overview of using PM2 Process Manager with Strapi. Mm, 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 mm. Ring strapper in a locker container. Exactly. Exactly. In a doctor. And then just make this. But this is to run that locally, right? Yes. The issue with this is um, the issue on the deploy, right? The issue on the deploy, for example, as hosting with this, is that now you're going to the third-party deployment guide might not be up to date with Strapi for contribution. Contribution are most welcome. This guide will connect to an AWS RDS for managing and hosting the database. Optionally, this guide will show you how to connect host and serve image on AWS S3. Damn, so because now they're using is this service from from Amazon. So you can use the Elastic Computing, their database stores, and their storage store. And I think that will be quite the same in Azure. Mm, where the Eco Ocean is much more easy. Google App Engine. Deploy the Google App Engine. Mm, 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 mm. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so now that I know the theory of this, okay, so with an e-commerce, which is uh, refers specifically to the transaction of good and service, much like you is your bustling city center or your brick and mortar shops into zeros and ones on the internet superhighway. Okay, then there are several type of e-commerce. B2C, business to client, is one of the most common, and client to business is, for example, Upwork. There are also other type of e-commerce, and there's a permutation of business to client and business to government and government to clients. So where and how does an e-commerce take place? In the e-mobile, in the mobile sphere, enterprise and social media. Okay, so now with this, I also look at the competitor analysis from Indeed, right? So Indeed here you have is what are e-commerce online companies, okay, physical goods, digital product, service, affiliate, type of e-commerce, exactly, type of e-commerce, and the top e-commerce company, right? Like Amazon, Walmart, Alibaba, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple Inc., eBay, Liberty Interactive Corporation. This is the first time I hear you. Shopify and Jingdong. Mm-hmm. So you have Amazon, Walmart stores. I barely use that. Amazon, Walmart stores, Alibaba Group Holding, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, and eBay, Liberty Interactive Corporation, Shopify, and Jingdong. Okay, this is based on the competitor analysis. All right, and the e-commerce company in USA, okay, are Amazon, eBay, Kroger, Apple, Etsy, okay, Etsy, Walmart, IKEA, Shop, BBC, the Home Depot, and Best Buy. So you have Etsy developer API. Mm, Open API version 3 will be deprecated in 2023. Look at the new documentation. Welcome to improve Etsy Open API version 3, a REST API that extends support for inventory, sales order, and shop management on the Etsy platform. API essentials. Migrating from there into tutorials. Mm, Quick start. The tutorial walks you through building a very simple Node.js application from start to finish. By the end, you will have a working application with a valid OAuth 2.0 access token to make requests to any scope endpoint. And the whole idea of this is that they're all using ExpressWare. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you guys the application. Mm. But what Etsy allows, because this is an e-commerce, shop for handmade, vintage, custom, and unique gifts forever. Okay, okay. Personalized gift. Do yourself craft for kids and baby, jewelry, wedding and engagement on sale. Uh-huh. Okay. Uh-huh. Kill an e-reader and e-commerce. You can see all of this. Mm-hmm. The review, recommendations. Okay. There's some more detail about this. Okay. Another e-commerce, right? Another e-commerce. Mm, Interesting. So, it's not even listed here, but it's listed here. Mhm. It's a popular marketplace focused on handmade or vintage product and unique factory manufacturing. Handmade or vintage product and unique factory manufactured items for hipster people. Okay, for hipster people. The platform enables people and companies to sell directly to their website using a wide range of art and photography products, food, bath and beauty products, clothing and accessories, toys, and other diverse items. Okay, okay. So that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.